This is Caitlin, your host of the No Sleep for Dramas podcast, where we get no sleep and survive on coffee to watch just one more episode at night. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the No Sleep for Dramas podcast. And today we have your first guest recording that is not an interview, and that is with the Drama Trio. Woohoo! Hello, guys. Clap, clap, clap. We are going to be recording a review for a C-drama, and this kind of wraps up what we have been doing since the beginning. Well, not almost the beginning, but like last year at some point, because we are
What's
reviewing...
the beginning?
Well, it was, but it wasn't, because we did Till the End of the Moon as our first ever recording.
But
And
that
then...
wasn't a drama trio. That was before drama trio was created.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So the first ever drama trio was 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms.
That's true. That's true.
So
I forgot about
that was the opener.
This is wrapping up the 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms saga, but now it's on my podcast. We are reviewing Love and Destiny, which is a long time coming, and I'm looking forward to this review because I'm really curious what you guys think about
We haven't said
it.
too much
Yes.
in our group chat on Instagrams. I think you're very nervous about what we're gonna say.
I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, but that's okay. We're wrapping up that little trio of trio of dramas, you know. But we have a couple things that we're gonna talk about beforehand, and then obviously we're gonna introduce the drama, talk about the characters, things like that. But first off, what are you guys watching these days? Like, what are you guys interested in watching these days? What's keeping your, attention?
Yeah, so I can go first because I don't got that much. I finished watching The Pit just a couple days ago.
I need to watch that so
Oh,
bad. I've been hearing so much about it.
Oh my God. When the Emmys roll around, watch
Also,
what happens.
I was a huge fan of ER, and Dr. Carter was my favorite, so I
Forget
really need to watch it.
You're gonna freaking love The Pit. I adored it. We adored it. Me and my sister watched it. As it was airing, we got the first 4 episodes through, and then we started watching weekly because it was airing every Thursday night on HBO Max. Highly recommend it. I am not a medical drama person. This had me in a chokehold. And then what else? I recently started rewatching Batman Begins again because I hadn't seen that movie since I don't know when. And I forgot that he was like cosplaying a struggle at the beginning of that movie. He was just roaming around, causing fights, getting locked up in Asian prisons just because he could and had a chip on his shoulder. And I was like, I forgot this is how this started because I always watch The Dark Knight and never watch Batman Begins. So anyway, I was very intrigued by this Batman and how young Christian Bale looks. I was like, how long has it been? I feel ancient. Anyway, that's just a little bit about me. I average about 5 movies a week. So
I actually averaged 5 movies a week last week. I was on par with you because I watched all 5 of those Studio Ghibli movies last week.
That's right. That's right.
I'll be doing it again in about a month.
Liliana, what are you watching?
For me, what am I watching? Scarlet Heart, the original Chinese drama. Let's put that out there. Because the thing is, you say Scarlet Heart, and all people think about is like the K-drama.
Everyone's like, oh my God, Scarlet Heart Rio. It's like, no, babes. No. Nobody knows that, or a lot of people don't realize that that is based on a C-drama. They just ripped it off. They remade it as a K-drama.
And like scene for scene remade it. I
have to say, the C-drama, I've only watched 2 episodes. Leaps and bounds better than the K-drama. That's all I'll say.
I haven't watched the K-drama, so I don't know. But
Same.
I'm enjoying the Chinese drama. I am having a little bit of a hard time keeping up with who is who.
Same.
It's
especially
like I need a diagram.
I also am like really trying not to be like, okay, who's who, but also I'm trying not to compare them to like the Korean, even though I've never watched it. Like, Caitlin, you can't do that because you're going to get more confused.
See, I haven't even like watched many scenes from the Korean, so I have
I've seen
no
everything.
clue.
Yeah. I've practically watched the Korean drama through social media. Like, it's just like there. Yeah.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that because, well, let's put it What else? It seems like it's modern drama central. I keep saying this over and over again. I'm so over modern dramas, but I'm watching two right now. I'm watching Such a Good Love, which stars Wang Ganyu and Wang Yuwen. I like it. I like it. It's about these, I reckon, actually, Jess, I reckon you not necessarily the story itself, but the way it's shot. It's almost shot like an indie movie. There's lots of times where the actors like break the fourth wall and just talk directly into the camera,
Mm,
and they break character to like, connect with the audience and say something to the audience.
okay.
And
Kinda like
it's
Fleabag?
about, yeah, yeah. So it's like these two characters, they clearly were in love. This guy wants to be a movie director, and they fall in love in college, and then they move to a big city and life kind of knocks them down. Now, the opening of this show is them two as adults, like at this crossroads, and they're discussing the end of their relationship, and they're, talking about what's happening. And you often get flash forwards to the future of just her. So you have no clue what's happened to them. You don't know what's happened to him. You don't know any of that sort of situation. But it's a real, like, I don't know how to describe. It's a real situation in the case that sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes timing
Mm,
is everything. And sometimes life just sucks. And like you keep getting put down and
yeah.
whatnot. They come from a small town. And as soon as they hit Beijing, they get, she almost gets all of her money stolen, him the same. They arrive at different times. They end up like it's a really nice story. Like
Mhm.
I'm really really enjoying it, and it's 28 episodes, so it's not too ridiculously long. But yeah, I like it because it's very different in terms of like directing. It feels very different
I like that.
to other stuff. And then the other one I'm watching is Eat, Run, Love, which I'm not sure about it yet. I've watched a couple of episodes. A couple. I've watched 10 episodes. That's not necessarily a couple. I've watched 10 episodes. So I'm pretty much like caught up to everything that's aired. But yeah, again, two people met in college, fell in love, broke up, and then they met back up,
A lot of second
as
chance
adults.
romance here.
So much, so many right now. And then the only other one that I'm actively keeping up has literally just dropped today, and that is the Demon Hunters Romance, which is a Ren Jialan and Song Zu-ar drama. It's not necessarily xianxia. I don't want to call it xianxia because there's not like any high gods or anything. It's set on Earth. It's more along the lines of what people would call like a Xuanhuan, which has like a Western influence or Western aspects to it. Basically, this girl can see demons. He's a demon hunter, and they cross paths, and they're probably gonna go, exploring the world and killing demons, something along those lines. Not I'm not keen on the female lead so far. This was one that was recorded like 3 years ago, but she had like a tax evasion scandal, and they've now let her out because apparently they investigated it, and she was in the clear, so they've let her out. This one is not the one that I'm like most looking forward. She has another drama that I'm more looking forward to, but it's okay. It's actually a slightly different character for Ren Jialan. He's not like a stoic character in this one. He seems like more fun. So I'm like, okay. Because I literally had just said, I really wish and hope this is like slightly different for him because he seems to be typecasted a bit. But this seems like it's going to be something a little bit different. He's like having fun with the role a bit more. So yeah, but I've only watched like the first 3 episodes. So I'm very, very early in.
Alright, nice.
Nice, nice. For me, Buried Hearts, like, has me in a chokehold.
You're still
I'm
watching
loving
Buried
it.
Hearts. I thought you might
I'm
have
very
finished.
yeah, I'm behind. It finishes next week, but I'm, like, really behind because I was trying to watch other stuff, but
Gotcha.
where I'm at is very early, so I'm still, like and I don't know how I haven't been spoiled on
I
this
got
thing.
spoiled. I'm not even watching
I
that show. I got spoiled. I know
I don't
all about the
know how
twists,
I have no idea.
the
I
birth
mean, I like the
secrets.
only thing I know is, like, one that happened in, like, episode 4 or 5, but, um I have no idea what's going on by the end because it ends next week. But yeah, that's the one that I'm watching other stuff, but that's the one that I'm like really into right now. But again, I'm trying to finish other stuff and get it off my plate. And then there's also podcast recording. So it's kind of been on the back burner, but that's okay. Anyway, that's what we're watching. All right, so we're going to introduce Love and Destiny and talk about some of the cast and the characters and things. So this aired in July 15th. Wow, 2029. That's what I wrote. Nope, 2019 to August 16th, 2019. It was produced by the same team as 10 Miles of Peach Blossom. And from what I hear, like basically mostly everybody who made 10 Miles of Peach Blossom, from like the writer to like the set crew, everything made this. The synopsis I pulled from my drama list: 50,000 years ago, Ju Chen, the god of war, sealed away the demon lord and fell into a deep slumber. When Lin Shi accidentally awakens him, they fall in love, only to discover that she harbors a evil miasma, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, capable of freeing the demon lord and empowering his tribe. Despite the danger, Ju Chen refuses to kill Lin Shi and vows to change her fate. With his support, Lin Shi transforms from an innocent maiden into a brave leader, determined to fight against evil and protect the world. The directors for this, there were four. Lin Yufeng, he also helped on Love 020 and Peach
Wah,
Blossoms.
wah,
Lung
wah.
Sing Kun helped on The Mystic Nine and The Flame's Daughter. Ren Hai Tao, Immortal Samsara, Mysterious Lotus Casebook, and
I still need to
Gao
watch
Wu.
those 2.
Same.
Damn.
Do you
Okay.
know? Do you know? I have had Mysterious Lotus Casebook has been on the
On
drama
hold.
trio bloody
I know.
review list for a year. It's
Yes.
longer than a
Yes.
year now.
Yeah. Yeah. The only dramas I've seen on this list was obviously Love 020, Peach Blossoms, and Mystic Nine. That's the only ones I've seen.
I've seen Love 020, Immortal Samsara, Peach Blossom, and I think that's it. Well, Mysterious Lotus Casebook, I did start.
Flame's daughter.
I think I started Flame's Daughter, but I put it on hold.
Mm,
I don't remember the male lead in that one, though. I
Yeah, I don't
remember it was
remember
an
either.
age gap. I know he was older, but I
Mhm.
don't remember who it was. Anyway.
All right. Yeah, I've watched Love 020 and Peach Blossoms. The rest, I still really want to watch, especially Mysterious Lotus Casebook and Immortal Samsara.
Okay. There were three screenwriters, apparently. Again, sorry if I butcher any of these names. Zhang Yuhua wrote Begin Again, the one with Gong Jun. Same with Chen Li Wen. She also wrote Begin Again, the one with Gong Jun. Apparently, that was the only thing they've ever written except for this one. And then Xiao Shang Donger, he or she was the original creator of Princess Agents, also wrote Arsenal Military Academy, and then A Moment But Forever, which is airing right now, also, or just ended, I guess, also wrote that or helped with that. So, any comments on the screenwriter?
I've watched all of these bar Princess Agents. Well, I dropped A Moment But Forever. Begin Again, I
Heh.
watched, and it's Gong Jun and Zuyu Tong. That's the pairing. I really liked Begin Again. And Arsenal Military Academy, by far one of Shukai best roles to date. It's a Shukai and Bailu drama, and I really liked it as well.
Ain't seen none of these. None of these, but I do want to watch them, especially Princess Agents. I hear that's
Yeah.
iconic.
Yeah, it is iconic. The only one I've seen is Princess Agents, which is why I'm excited for the sequel, prequel. I'm not really sure, but it's coming out and I am so excited for it. But I need to rewatch Princess Agents because I
I
haven't
haven't
seen it in
watched
years.
I haven't watched Princess Agents, but I really want to watch the sequel because I love the
Yeah.
casting for it.
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing. I love the casting too, but yeah, yeah. Okay, so getting into the cast, the two main leads were Chang Chen and Nini. Chang Chen plays Ju Chen, and Nini, of course, plays Lin Shi. Chang Chen, he is one of my favorite Chinese actors, but he does not do dramas. He literally has done like two in his life, one and then one Korean drama, which is hilarious. So he was in things like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, The Soul, which is a amazing movie in my opinion, A Brotherhood of Blades, and then as I mentioned, Narco Saints, which is a K drama that aired in 2020, 2021, something like that. But yeah, he literally is not a drama. Like everybody, I remember
No,
when this was announced, they were so surprised that he was doing this because
it's
literally he had
strange.
only done like one other drama
Mhm.
before this, and then Narco
Yeah,
Saints is the only other drama after.
he's, I mean, if you've seen Dune, he's in
Yeah,
Dune, the
yeah.
most recent Dune, and he speaks like 4 languages: Mandarin, Cantonese, Japanese, and English. He is a frequent collaborator of Wong Kar-wai, the iconic Wong Kar-wai.
Uh-huh.
Huge film actor, not a drama actor.
Right. And then there's Nini, of course, who everybody knows, Flowers of War, which is an amazing movie. I think it's a
With
movie.
Christian Bale, what a
Yes,
tie-in!
yes,
How did I
yes,
do
and
that?
it's so good. Rise of Phoenixes, Parallel World, and of course Night Wanderer, which is not released in, but everybody knows about it because reasons.
Yeah, they're
Anyway.
gonna they will be releasing that one though, because 'cause they're gonna scrub his face. They're gonna
Uh,
CGI in a new actor, so it will come. It'll just take a
Wow.
time, and it better
yeah,
come because that was one of my most anticipated
I know.
dramas. I'm
It
so
was
mad about it.
everybody's. It was everybody's.
Whoa. So I've only seen The Rise of Phoenixes, which is something like 70 episodes.
Uh-huh.
I adore that drama. It is a masterpiece to me. I don't know how you guys feel about Nini, but that's where I first saw her. She is amazing. I think she's an amazing actress.
Yeah, I like her too. Yeah. I actually have never finished Rise of the Phoenixes because it was so long. I was like, I need to like take this in parts, and then I never went back. I think I got 20 episodes in or something. So I need to go back and actually finish that.
It's freaking long.
I know.
It's not
It's long.
easy. It's
It's
just so
beautiful though,
it's
and it's
beautiful,
really
like, the whole
good.
thing is just filmed so well, it's gorgeous, the sets, everything. Highly recommend it if you can stomach, like, 70 plus
Yeah,
episodes.
I think it's 80. I think
Is
it's
it
like
80?
80 or
I
something.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised, yeah.
What about you, Liliana?
I've seen Parallel Worlds. I've never watched this actor before.
Mm.
This was my first experience with him. As for Nini, I really like Nini. I've seen her in Parallel World, and yeah, I was so excited for The Night Wanderer. The Rise of the Phoenixes is on my very long list to get to eventually. And like at this point, I've done Minglan. I can do, I can do another one. So yeah, I do plan to watch that one at some point.
Okay. All right. Some of the supporting cast, I kind of pulled out the more prominent ones. We have Ling Dong-shu, who was in Empresses in the Palace and Heavenly Sword Dragon Slaying Saber. We have
Yes,
Zhang Zishi.
Empresses in the palace, in the house.
I don't remember him from
Neither do
Empresses in
I.
the Palace.
Neither do I.
But I mean, that was like a huge cast and a really old drama, and I also have not watched it in years. So I did not remember him being in that drama. Zhang Zhenxi, Till the End of the Moon, Journey to Love, Tiger and Crane. And also the dramas I'm like listing out, it's not their only dramas. I'm just cherry picking some that I'm sure people will remember. Because a lot of these people have been doing acting for years, like Lee Dong-shu, who was in Empresses in the Palace. Leo Lee, who was in Moonshine and Valentine, The Silent Criminal, and Wonderland of Love. Hai Ling, Memory Lost, Amidst the Snowstorm of Love, Snow Night, Timeless Love. Lu Shanhan hasn't done any dramas since this drama, but before that, they were in Three Kingdoms and The Legend of Condor Heroes. Apparently, Legend of Condor Heroes is like where she made a name for herself. Patrick Zhang, Heart of Genius, Back for You. Zhu Haowen, Golden Eyes, Never Say Never, The Hunter. I love him as an actor. Guan Xin, Love 020, and Love of Nirvana. And Na Guanzi, The Internal Love Season 3, and really hasn't done anything beyond that in this drama. So that is your supporting cast for you. Any comments?
No, not yet. Not yet.
No comments.
Okay, cool. All right. Moving on. What are your overall non-spoiler reviews
Why
of
don't
this
you
drama?
go first?
Yeah.
I think you should go first, and then we'll go after you.
Clearly, you guys can tell there's many different opinions with this drama versus, yeah, we don't agree. We'll just say that.
I don't think this will be a clean cut
No.
review.
So overall, I love this drama. It's less than 10 miles, but I don't think anything really can I think there's a nostalgia aspect to that, and there's nothing that really can top 10 Miles in terms of the 3 dramas here. Definitely better than The Eternal Love a Dream, which we won't talk about that. You can go listen to our review of that.
Yeah, the review for that is on Tibok if you wanna scroll and listen to that one. Alright.
I loved our main couple in this. They were amazing for me. I thought their chemistry was really good and their acting, the 2 actors I thought pulled off these roles really, really well. I like the supporting cast also was great. I thought they were really well-rounded. I thought the villain, the male villain, was a very interesting role and dynamic for the story. The female villain, that we'll talk about that later. I do have qualms with it though. It's not like I'm like 10 out of 10 for this. I thought the story was unique in some aspects, but also obviously fell into some of the Shansha tropes and some of the annoying ones, but also turned some of those tropes on its head or just did not do them altogether. I thought some of the topics discussed in this drama was really unique, but I was I really enjoyed the lead couple in this and the acting that went into that. So overall, I would say my rating for this was like an 8.5 out of 10. So not like perfect, but definitely
That's
better than
high. You really
average in
liked it.
terms of me. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, Liliana, you're up.
So, for me, it's far too long for what it needs to be. The story feels quite dragged out. I loved Nini. I loved like her acting. That was one of the things that I really enjoyed about it. I don't like the male lead's acting. I feel like he is far too wooden throughout the whole thing. And yes, that is his character, but to me, it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't come across that he's fallen in love with her or that he's, ready to give up everything for her. That sort of type of, love doesn't really come across from him. And he seems to have pretty much the same expression throughout the whole drama. So that to me was, it made me not connect with the main couple. I didn't really think there was that much chemistry there. I actually thought Nini had more chemistry with the second male lead when they're in
Yes.
their
I'm gonna
yes,
co-sign
yes,
that.
yes. When they're like the second male lead in the Earth realm, like I wanted them as a pairing. I'm not gonna lie, like the chemistry felt better there. So that was like, and the thing is, for me, as soon as I don't connect with a main couple, the drama's not gonna work for me that well. So I, like I said, I think this is just bog average. It doesn't feel new in any sense of the word. And I was expecting more out of it, I think, than what I actually got. So yeah, I think like apart from Nini, which I really liked, although they do keep her fairly weak for most of the drama and fairly a damsel in distress for most of the drama, which I wasn't, I wanted to see a bit more fire out of her, especially knowing the clan she comes from. And like, especially knowing the other two characters that are kind of like in this world. So, yeah, I ended up scoring this a 6.5 out of 10. And like, it is that high because of Nini. Because if it wasn't for
Mhm.
Nini, I would have,
Uh-huh.
and again, honestly, if I wasn't recording this, I would have dropped it. I wouldn't have necessarily finished it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so for me, I had to watch this at 1.5 speed because it was dragging horse behind the carriage for me. I did not appreciate how long it took for the story to play out. And yes, a lot of stuff happened, but I'm of the same opinion as Liliana that it did not need to be no 60 episode 60 people. Okay, this was a long ass show and I felt every minute of it. At 1.5 speed, you can see how Changten as Chen, the male lead, was not emoting because it was going almost at double time and he was
I
not emoting. You can see it clearly.
watched it at 2.5 in certain places. I was
Oh
like,
my
I'm just
god.
gonna speed this up a bit. And the thing is, you can still catch the story. So I was like,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna speed this up a bit.
it was, I think, for the first 30 episodes for me, painful to watch this show. I would have dropped it had we not done this review. And I thought there's no chemistry between Changchen and Nini. Nini is pulling all the weight here. She is doing the most work. She is putting in the most effort to make it seem like there is something, some chemistry, some reaction happening between them when he is literally just a limp fish, like dead fish eyes. The entire time he is so stoic and so wooden, like you said, Liliana. It was hard. It was really hard for me. Once they entered their mortal trial, like her mortal trial, basically, I loosened up a lot. I relaxed a lot and I quite enjoyed the mortal trial. It lasted a hell of a long time, though, let me tell you. That was like another 30, like the rest of the show, honestly, was basically her mortal trial.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be, I don't think this is much of a spoiler, but I thought it was going to be 3 successive lives because they said, oh, she has to go through 3 trials. I was like, okay, 3 lives. No, it was 3 different, like, uh, mayhem, mischief, life things that happened to her in one lifetime. And I don't think I necessarily like that, although whatever, like, I guess that's what they were going for in this drama. Didn't mind how how the show ended. I just thought it was not surprising. Like Liliana said, there was nothing that was unpredictable about the show. There was nothing that surprised me. I could have told you where it was going to go by episode 10. Like, I can tell you what the next episodes are going to be. I had a problem with Changchen as an immortal, mostly because of his styling, because I did not think the styling worked for him. Not everyone can pull off, Hanfu can pull off, costume dramas, okay? This guy looks so fine in Wong Kar-wai movies, in other even in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. He looks amazing. He's much, much younger in that, of course, but he looks really good in that. I think it had to do with the neckline on everything was too high for him. So I'm like, it looks like he's choked out. Everything that he's wearing looks like he has no neck. So I was like, he doesn't even look good in this costuming. His head looked like effed up. Like the proportions were all weird. His styling, I just hated his styling. And then Nini looks amazing and everything. So I was like, oh my God, the age gap between them. Usually I don't mind a 12-year age gap. Look at me and Goblin. I'm fine with that 12 years between Kong Yu and Kim Go-eun. In this 12 years, I was like, he looks ancient. I
You
don't
can
know
see
why.
it.
Yeah.
You can see it.
I don't know why. And Nini wasn't young when she did this. She must have been, she's 36 now, and this was 6 years ago. So she was like 30 years old. And yeah, so then he was in his early 40s. I was feeling it. I was not thinking that they made a good pairing. Like usually if there is an age gap, you're like, oh, but they make a cute couple. They make a good couple. There's something that you're rooting for. I was not rooting for shit. I was like, no, 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 no. I couldn't deal with them. I didn't like them as a couple. I loved Nini with the second male lead only in the Earth realm, only when she was going through
Mhm.
her mortal trial. I was like, damn, they have
When you
good
say
chemistry.
when you say second male lead, you're talking about
Villain.
Jinshu, the villain?
The villain.
Jinshu?
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I will admit they had really good chemistry. I mean,
There were some moments where I was like, this is more than I've seen in the last 10 episodes.
yeah, which is why I said in my review I loved his character. I loved his dynamic and like how different it was because it was for me his character was complicated. It wasn't just like the
It was a very
straightforward like need revenge type thing.
gray character,
Yeah.
very morally ambiguous. You thought he was bad. His styling made you think, oh, he's a villain. And then he lands in her mortal trial, basically his lowest of low. And you're like, well, maybe he's not so bad. So then, it plays on your perception of him because he's going through a hard time and he's so good to her and whatever. I get it. I also think that guy, sorry, he's fugly. Like, I thought, oh no. Because everybody's ugly except for Nini. And I am never one of those people that's like, I only watch dramas with pretty people. I don't like watching dramas if I don't think the male lead is attractive. I have watched so many things where people are ugly as shit and it's an amazing story. It's an amazing acting performance or whatever. I thought he was acting over the top a lot of the time. A lot of these people were acting over the top. Maybe to compensate for Changchen, I don't know. But it was a lot, especially in the last few episodes, like him like cackling at the sky. I was like, what is going on? I didn't like Leo Lee as Yun Feng because I thought he was ugly too. And he's not ugly in real life. He's just ugly in Hanfu, ugly like with the wig, ugly in the styling. I don't know
I
what
have
the
to
hell.
say the wigs were horrible in this show.
Horrible.
The wigs were really
Like
bad.
the
The
proportions.
styling in
Yeah.
general was just not great.
The styling in general in this was
I
not
will
good. I
say,
will agree.
except Nini,
Nini.
especially Nini in like the last third of the drama.
Yes.
Chef's kiss.
The styling in general, for me, got better in the last third.
What else? I'll hand it back to you, Caitlin, because I'll just keep going
Well, what's
and
your
stray
rating?
into spoiler territory.
What's your rating?
Oh, my rating. Probably 5.5 or 6. Again,
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend this to somebody. I wouldn't rewatch it. I would have dropped it if I wasn't doing this review. So that's that. But otherwise, I thought the last half of the show way better than the first half because it's at
Uh-huh.
least watchable.
Uh-huh.
They just needed it to make it like slash it in half. That's all you need. 30 episodes for this story. At a push 40.
I
At
would
a
love
very
a
big push 40.
I would
You only
love
need
like a
30.
Netflix edit of this. Like I watch a
Mm,
shitty Empresses in the Palace Netflix edit. Can we get a shitty Netflix edit of Love and Destiny so that I can watch this at a proper pace and get like the highlights basically? That's what I need.
Okay, so
So that's why we made you go first because we were not 100 on this show at all.
mhm, mhm. Alright, so now this is your spoiler warning. We are going to move into spoiler territory. So if you do not want to be spoiled on the show and go watch it and then come back, now's the time to do it. There we go. Just a little fun fact about this. This is an original script. It is not based off of a novel or anything. Apparently, the writers, because it's done by the same people of Peach Blossom, they decided to do this original script and took inspiration from Peach Blossom and apparently fix what people didn't like about Peach Blossom. That's what I read. That's what I read somewhere. I don't know.
Wait. What didn't people like
It's
about
what
Peach
now?
I
Blossom?
don't know. I don't know. That's literally a sentence I read on Google. Like, they literally said they took inspiration from Peach Blossom to fix what people did not like. And I don't know if that was a direct quote. I have no idea. No idea. But that's what that's said.
Because this is such a step down from 10 Blossoms to me. So, okay. All right. Where do you want to start, Caitlin?
We can do well, why don't we talk about like the couples in general? Like just
Okay.
the couples and then like you can bring in the villain too or like the villains, not that they were really like couples, but like
Well,
just the
okay. So
couples
you
dynamics.
didn't like the female villain, and I actually kind of liked her because she was really unhinged and she was doing a lot of like rage through her eyes
Easy
and
eyes.
stuff.
I didn't like her because for me she was cliche. Like we had seen it
Uh,
before.
uh,
Like she was predictable. It was like because you had the girl from 10 Miles who was horrible. She was basically her, but in this drama, right? Except she
yeah.
was a general and not like a princess or whatever. And so I didn't like her because she was predictable. I did like the fact she was unhinged and like I also didn't really I was by the end I'm like, come on, you're still like revenge over your mom's death?
That's what I did.
Seriously?
Okay. So, what I didn't like about her is not that she was cliche, because I loved her descent into madness and how she
Uh-huh.
kept making what is seen as small choices to
Right.
push her into the direction of evil and away from the righteous path and all this stuff. Got it. I loved that she chose family and duty and filial piety over, her loyalty to Juchen, the male lead.
Uh-huh.
Even though she had deep appreciation for him, she honored him and
She loved
at
him.
the end, she
And she
loved
got
him. It was
jealous.
yeah, and then she was extremely jealous of Nini's character, Ling Shi. I didn't like that part, that it was like she had these unrequited feelings for
Right.
Chen. I thought that was a step below what it should have been, because I
Yeah.
liked that she was a general. I liked that she had been with him for all
Same.
these years and
I
that she
found
was
that part cliche. That why have her make these small decisions based clearly her reasoning was the death of her mom,
to
but
save her clan, to
in
keep her
hindsight
clan
it
out of
was
the
she
in the
was
clear.
jealous and she had these unrequited love. I'm like, "Okay,
I
why are
didn't
you
like that
making
part.
this cliche?"
I agree with you that I don't like that part, that jump to, oh, plus she also loves Juchen and she's obsessed with him and doesn't want
Yeah.
Ling Shi to be with him. I just think she should have been maybe jealous of Nini, Nini's character, but not romantically, just jealous because she's closer to him because maybe she can
Right.
give him counsel where she can't, and she's just lost her position as his right-hand person or left-hand person or whatever, and has lost his trust, broken his trust. I would rather her have stayed in that lane versus I don't want you to be with Nini. I love you. And how could you never look at me all these years? I was with you for longer, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, that's boring. That's boring. I like the other reason better because it was a combination of these two, but I don't like that they went so hard with, now you'll never be together. Ha ha ha, mustache twirling. I'm like, fuck that, fuck that. No.
Right.
Especially because they
Yeah.
were already doing that with the second male lead. It wasn't necessary to have her do that as well. Like, it
Yeah.
it just wasn't needed.
I just thought it was cheap. Yeah.
For me, I thought the second male lead throughout the drama, because they met when they first were in, like, the heavenly realm, I thought their chemistry was great when they first, like, just randomly passed by each other and, like, met. But I feel like for him to develop feelings for her, it didn't happen until the mortal realm.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
she was
Mhm,
curious about
mhm.
him, like, he was curious about her and was like, "Oh, okay, she's different, she's new."
Yeah.
And then he developed feelings. So I thought it was a little late on his part in a way. Like it made sense, obviously, because the human realm, the mortal realm happened for a really long time. And I do agree the mortal realm lasted a lot longer than it should.
An inordinately long time.
Yeah, it
It's the
lasted a long
longest
time.
mortal realm arc that I've ever watched, I think, in any
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Almost
Yeah.
30 episodes, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, this guy Jing Xiu, which is really I think there's so many characters that have a Jing or Jiu in their name because I was getting Jiu Chen confused with Jing Xiu, which is basically the male villain and the male lead. I thought their names sounded too similar. But anyway,
Mhm.
it's like Carol and Carolyn to me. I'm like, you can't do that. So, that guy, I really believed his love story with her when he landed in the mortal realm and he was blind and he had no powers and he was just wandering around the mortal realm and she took pity on him and she was deaf at this point. Like they had their issues and they really bonded together and they took care of each other. And I was like, oh, this is so classic. Like taking care of his boo-boos and he's taking care of her and picking her up from work and looking out for her. I was like, of course they're gonna develop feelings. She was like putting medicine on his eyes, around his eyes. I was like, that is the sexiest thing I've seen in this whole show so far. It was like their tension, their sexual tension between them was palpable, and it was blowing her whatever chemistry she had with Jo Chen, the male lead, out of the water. And so what happened with me was I didn't understand the character's logic when he figures out it's Lingxi and that Jiu Chen this is a mortal trial for her so that he can bring her back to life. He's like, no, you can't take Linmo away from me. And thwarts all of these efforts so that she dies on time for her final death trial. I was like,
Mhm.
what are you doing? What are you doing? He had no confidence that he could be with her as Ling Shi. And even
Right.
if she was
Right.
Linmo, I was like, okay, so she lives out her life as a human, and then what, you get maybe 40 years with her? It just didn't make literal sense to me. I was like, oh, perfect. In my mind, I'll be like, perfect, she's an immortal. She just dies, comes back to life. She has no demonic aura inside of her anymore. And I just like shoot my shot based on the deep connection we made in the mortal realm. He
Uh-huh.
doesn't really do that. He's like constantly trying to cock block Ju Chen and this grand plan that he put in motion for her. I was like, this is freaking wild. This is wild. Where's the logic in this?
It went out the window in episode 1, didn't it? I mean, it's Shansha. When does it ever have logic?
I just thought he's got to be out of his mind to keep her alive and then to still have the demonic aura. I was like, do you want her to merge with the demon lord? You think you can keep her safe
I
for
think
the
at
rest of her
that
life?
point, he just didn't want Juchen to have her. I
I
think at
was
that point, it
just
was like, if I can't have her, no one can.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the characters kind of treated her more like a possession than a
absolutely.
person. And
I
that
mean,
to me
both
is
the male
such a
lead,
letdown. Yeah, both the male leads.
both
I
of
mean,
them do.
all the characters in general, I think, treated her a bit like a possession. And to me, that's problematic. I always say, I don't mind a female character in a xianxia kind of starting off as like slightly weaker or whatever, because that seems to be the norm in xianxia, but I need to see development and I need to see her, which she did. She kind of, like, in all fairness, she did. She, became queen of the demon realm or whatever, took after her mum, did all of that. But you don't actually ever see her truly, like, fight her own battles in a sense. The male leads kind of always take care of it for her. And I wish we would have seen a bit more of that. And then because of that, because I feel like it feels like there's this huge power. And I think that's probably why I don't believe the main couple's romance that much. You feel the power imbalance between them. And it's a constant
Mm.
thing throughout the whole drama. It doesn't ever quite seem that she matches his standing and like stands toe to toe with him, if that makes sense.
They call attention to this as well. She talks about this overtly,
Mhm.
where she's like, I don't feel like I can be with him. I'm so far below him. And then she throws like a temper tantrum when she comes back into her immortal self
Mhm.
after the mortal trial and she's Lingxi again. She's avoiding him, also because she's cowardly and doesn't want to face him, but also because he has been treating her like a child this whole time, has made decisions on her behalf, has taken away so much agency from her, and she feels like it's not fair.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
like wants to prove herself and do something on her own terms, and being in the Shanling tribe and taking care of her mom and possibly becoming the leader of this tribe or whatever. That is elevating her closer to where he is. But again, he's got like 120,000 years on her.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and they call attention to that too. So many side characters start talking about their age in the last 5, 6 episodes, and I'm like, was there like a complaint or something in the writer's room or something like that? Because they suddenly start going hard on, oh, their age gap, da, da, da. And I'm like, what was there? Is this in response to something? Because it felt like they were trying to convince the audience that it was okay, that it doesn't matter. It's the immortal.
Mhm.
These people are immortal. Age doesn't really matter. So I thought that was weird too. But yeah, she talks about the power imbalance specifically between them and how she was doing this little rebellion and not being with him just to like assert herself.
I feel like that's kind of why I like it though. Because like I think it's different, like the fact they had that conversation in this drama, or at least she brought it up, is different compared to what you got in 10 Miles Until Later, or like other dramas made before this. Like the conversations and topics brought up in this drama was so unique for me because they were addressing things that the audience have complained about in various other dramas before this, or just stuff that like just aren't talked about, which I put in the doc that we can talk about later. Just like the things that I picked out, I thought was very unique. I think I love this couple so much because it reminded me of my favorite couple of 10 Miles, because it was the same setup. You had Dilraba's character in 10 Miles, who was very young, very like Nini's character, and then the person that she was paired with was very stoic, didn't talk to anybody, was very closed off, and then they had a whole coupling and even had a separate drama which wasn't the same. But like I think that's the reason why I love this couple so much, because it reminded me of my favorite couple of 10 Miles. And because in 10 Miles, the white-haired guy, I can't his
Dijin,
name is, thank you.
off the dome.
He didn't really like emote very much. I will say I thought Ju Chen emoted more than he did, because the
Oh,
comedy aspect of this, he like made facial expressions and he like had these weird reactions to Needy all the time. And I don't agree with him not emoting, but I mean, I would say like not emoting with everybody else, but Nini, I think he emoted a lot more than what my white haired guy from 10 Miles did.
okay.
So I
Okay.
think that's why I connected with this couple a lot, because they reminded me of my favorite couple and I love them. So I probably connected more with them in this drama because of that. Um,
Yeah, it's a grumpy sunshine relationship.
yeah,
And I don't
yeah.
mind Grumpy Sunshine, I just don't see what he got to be grumpy about. Like, that's my issue with every Grumpy Sunshine. I'm like,
But
"Okay, but
that's kind
why?"
of like the God of War, like, that's the trope though, right? You have a stoic God of War that, like, all the God of Wars are grumpy.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I've
they
never
eventually They eventually stop being stoic. That's my
But
problem.
he did with Nini. In my opinion, he did with Nini. And also, I would say with everybody else in his household, he was a lot less stoic. With everybody else, he was more stoic, obviously.
Okay, you were reading the tea leaves differently than we were on this
I know.
because me and Liliana did not see that much improvement I was like, where he's ended is where he should have started.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how I think, because he was still stoic, but he was, giving a few smiles here and there and whatever. If he started there and then built up, oh my God, I would have loved this drama
Oh,
way better.
we would have been talking a whole different conversation
He
Yes.
was
then.
giving small smiles and small reactions the entire drama to Nini,
I'm telling you, I
specifically.
watched this thing almost on double time. He was not
Same
moving.
expression. Same
Okay.
expression.
Okay. I clearly watched a different drama than you guys did because I thought he was emoting to Nini specifically, which is why I liked their coupling.
Okay, because I'm still remembering their first kiss. She plants one on him, and he does.
Mhm.
It's as good as planting one on like a tree. It was no
It was a
reaction.
fish one. Yeah,
He
it was a
he
surprise
didn't
fish
even
one
but he didn't even open his eyes
Not the
bigger.
eyes open, nothing.
Nothing. There was
because
nothing.
he was trying to push her away. He was trying to get her to leave.
Okay, you got something out of this. We just did it. I'm so glad for you. I'm so happy for you. I did not.
I
I was
thought
like,
they had a very mature relationship, in my opinion. I thought
really?
they had really nice conversations. I thought, especially near the end, while she was in the ruling her own
The
Shanling
Shanling
tribe,
tribe, which is like an in
I
between.
thought they had some very yes, I will admit, at the beginning, it was a very big power dynamic and things, and I will agree with that. And there was some discussion with that. I thought by the end, they had a very mature relationship, especially once she got back from the mortal realm.
I don't see it that way. Because the thing is, he decides he doesn't talk to her. That's and that's a common
But
theme
she
throughout the
didn't
whole
talk to him
drama.
either. When they got back, it was her decision not to talk to him. He was trying to talk to her.
I think she needed a moment. She was supposed to be dead, and all of a sudden, I think whenever they come back from their mortal realm, whatever has happened in the mortal realm, I mean, she has to assimilate this life that she had in a mortal realm as somebody else with the
Uh-huh.
life that she has to do now. She has to process all of it, I think.
That was different than other Shanches, where they go down to the
Mhm.
mortal realm, and when they come back, they were like, "Oh, that was a weird dream that I had," and they don't remember anything. They hardly remember their mortal trial, which
I
is
mean, it was a
part of the
common
plot.
thread in this. They turned a trope on the head. I mean, the doctor was the same way. The doctor hated Yu Feng, and he had no idea why until much later in the drama
The doctor,
because of her
Qing Yao.
mortal realm.
Oh, you
Yeah,
want to talk about the second couple?
I
Okay,
could talk
okay.
about that.
Their chemistry was
The
better. Their
chemistry was
chemistry
good.
was
Yeah, I like
definitely
their
better for them
chemistry.
two.
The third couple, no.
Third
I didn't
couple.
get the third couple. The Singming and the mermaid. I didn't get their
My
coupling.
God, my
That was
worst.
comedy.
I did
That
not
was
like
just
that couple
comedy.
at all. I
I
didn't
Yeah,
like
no,
that
loved
not
couple.
I
for me.
loved Sisan alone. I loved the mermaid by herself,
Right.
which we can talk about that later, but their coupling just did not make sense to me.
I didn't.
The
Well,
second couple
but
I
that's how
loved
I
too.
feel about Nini and Juchen.
See,
It's like
no,
this
see,
doesn't make sense.
I don't agree with that. I don't, but okay.
Okay,
Anyway, let's
okay.
talk about the second couple.
Okay, so the second couple. Qing Yao, I thought she was going in the direction of Jiu Chen or Chang Chen in terms of her acting because she was very cold, she was very stoic, she wasn't giving that much. And then all of a sudden, I was like, okay, I get it. She is opening up a lot more throughout the show. And she's giving Yunfeng the cold shoulder on purpose. She's playing hard to get. And I haven't seen someone play hard to get in a drama in a minute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
So
love how this drama talks about grief. I love the
true.
topic of grief in this drama because
Uh-huh.
I think people overall, not just her, not just Nini, everybody kind of took their grief in a different direction, both okay, in terms of the doctor not talking to Yufeng and distancing herself. Nini kind of the same way. We got Yutong basically becoming a villain. I mean, and then Nini also with her mom's death, wanting to go become this queen to investigate her mom's death while grieving and things. So I really like the topic of grief in this in general.
Yeah, grief and loss is a really powerful tool that the drama uses, and I agree that that was, like, the most compelling parts were when you realize that these people are grieving.
Mhm.
Yao, the doctor, she was grieving for 50,000 years, and then
Yeah.
she meets Yun I think it's Yunfeng,
Yes.
and she is really mean and cold and distant from him because he's caused some kind of flood that killed her mortal realm husband 50,000 years ago, ahead of when he was supposed to die. It was like a freak thing that he caused, and she held it against him. She was freaking mad at this guy for killing her human husband. So I really thought that was interesting. I thought that was
Which
an
we find out
interesting.
later he actually wasn't human, but that's
Oh my god. That was I was like, I should have seen that was one thing that I should have seen coming. Was that her husband in the mortal trial 50,000 years prior was not just a regular Joe Schmo. He was another immortal gone down to have his mortal trial. They met perchance, fell in love and got married, and then he was killed before his trial was supposed to be over by Yunfeng, the other guy. And then her husband was like a tree or something in the
Mhm.
immortal realm.
he couldn't get past his last trial, so he was stuck in the mortal
He was
realm,
stuck like
reliving
using
all these lives.
they said, "Oh, he can grow limbs and stuff," and so he was basically growing and breaking off like tree limbs so that he can continue through the trials and try and make it out. Because otherwise his trial would be a failure, and then I'm sure he would have consequences if when he landed back in the immortal realm. But he just kept trying. He just kept
Right.
reliving a good life over and over again. So very fun, but that's the one thing that I didn't predict was that her ex-husband was also some rando immortal in the immortal realm. So that
Well,
was
the fact he
interesting.
was alive, I was like, okay, yeah, you bring him in to maybe cause some ruckus against this sucking couple or whatever, but it didn't really do anything. It
Yeah,
was
I
like,
thought that was
why?
gonna materialize a
Yeah.
little more, but they didn't.
I
They
mean, I
didn't.
guess it was closure for
It was
her,
closure. Yeah,
so, like,
exactly.
she could, like, move on to Yufeng and realize her feelings for Yufeng, but still, it was just like, okay, alright.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to the second couple, Liliana, did you have something to say about the second couple?
I well, like I said, I liked them. I thought
You didn't care
they
about them.
had fair. No, I like them. I think in terms of, like, chemistry, I like them better than the first couple because I feel like there was more tension there between them. The fact that she's like, "I don't wanna be with you," and this guy's, like, trying everything to sort of get her attention
Yeah.
even, and she, like, does not give a even a little bit of care there. And I liked like how they developed. I liked that she got that closure before she fully moved on to be with with the
Yunfeng.
partner that she Yufeng, because otherwise I feel like that could have been left like a little niggly thing in the back of her mind. So I'm
Uh-huh.
glad that was all sorted. I thought that was actually quite good, that was like a closed chapter for her and she could fully move on. And I liked how loyal she was, and he the same. Like both of them were very loyal, but her specifically, she was so loyal, not just to him eventually, because I mean, this guy gets turned into stone towards the end as a punishment. And she's like,
Right.
fine, I'm just gonna wait for you, for however long I have to wait. I think it was like 100,000 years that he was meant to be
Oh, I thought it was
in
a
Yeah.
his
thousand.
stone. Was it
No, it
1,000?
was, like, a really long time. I
I
think
thought
I
it was
thought it
like
was a
Liliana was
1,000 years, and I
100,000.
was like, that's a lot. That's too much.
So I was like, it shows. I just liked the progression of their relationship overall, and I liked the two actors together, I think.
I do like when he comes back to life and is the decoy for Ju Chen at the end of the show. For years, apparently, he was masquerading as Ju Chen in the
Mhm.
Fuyun Palace, and she goes to see him when the jig is up. And instead of saying anything to him, she just slaps his face. And I thought
Yeah.
that was very satisfying.
Yeah.
Yes, he deserved it.
He
He
deserved it.
He
absolutely
did.
deserved
He
it.
did.
It was such
Yeah.
a dumb plan.
It
Such a dumb
was.
plan.
It was a dumb plan
What's the
across the board
dumbest
from
plan?
everybody.
'Cause it's like the last 3 episodes or whatever it is, it's literally in the I'm like, "Have you run out of story or something, or have we suddenly just remembered?"
I agree, the ending was a little bit rushed.
But
Yeah.
that's the thing, like, you had
You
60
had
episodes.
60
It's
episodes.
not like you had the time. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
just mad at what could have been.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel.
And then
I feel like
Jinxu.
I felt the same way when it came to not 10 Miles,
Oh, Eternal
is it
Love of
Eternal
Dream.
Love of Drew? Yeah. I felt by the end I felt mad at what it could have been. I feel the same way about this one. I feel mad at what could have been.
Yeah, because Jinxu as well, I thought that villainous character. I mean, first of all, he's bald, got tattoos all over his
Tattoos all
head, guy liner. I mean, you could have seen from a mile away that he was going to be an evil
A villain.
character.
Right.
Yeah. So finally, he merges with whatever spirit is left of the evil demon lord, and he's the new demon lord. Okay, fine. I thought from then on, havoc. I thought it was going to be mayhem,
I
pandemonium.
really wanted. Yeah, I really all hell to break loose. That's what I
Nothing
wanted.
happened.
Stuck.
Nothing happened.
What? Is this what you were afraid of? What
Yeah.
do you mean? What this is what has the whole heavenly realm like on their knees worrying? I'm
I
like,
was so
hey,
confused.
come
I was like,
on.
I see this guy merged with the demon lord. It looks like he's just in a nondescript desert, just hanging out by the bonfire, catching a
Just
vibe. I'm
waiting.
confused. Why is he not being evil to somebody that we know? I had a lot of questions about that. I was like, is he building his power? Is he just how is he gonna get back Lingxi if he's not even like pestering her? So I again did not make sense to me with that.
I needed the evil people to be more evil. Like I needed meaner characters, if that
Uh-huh.
makes sense.
But that's why I thought Yuan Tong, the female villain, was so good because she was getting progressively more unhinged, was killing
Right.
people. She was framing people for evil deeds that she had done. And I was like, oh my God, like how are these people gonna get out of this? Where's the
She's just
evidence?
scheming left, right, and
Scheming!
center and causing
Right.
havoc.
Yeah.
That's I will say I did actually enjoy that whole aspect because I think it was quite well done, except the part where then she's all of a sudden in love with the male lead.
Yeah, I
Like
don't like
if
that.
you take
Yeah.
I don't like that part. If you take that part away, her descent into like madness in a sense, and it was good because she was scheming. It's not like all of a sudden she's lost all of her brains. She was smart before. She's just using her brains for evil deeds now. And it
Mhm,
shows because everybody's kind of like scrambling to
mhm.
try and like undo what she's doing. So
Yep.
I actually really liked like her descent into madness.
I also didn't like her ending though, again, because
Yes,
she
I
kinda
didn't like her
just, like,
ending.
gave herself up.
Yeah, she became like a wraith.
Yeah, I guess, which I didn't
To be with
understand.
him. Because that's what she said. She was like, "Well, if
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
be with you as a rate," and I'm like, "That is such a cop out. That is literally
yeah,
such a cop out
I wanted like
for
a
a
fight.
female character."
yeah, yeah. Or I wanted a punishment too. It was, why didn't she get trapped in that demon tower and, I don't know, lightning struck every 2 seconds? Everybody, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it made sense in terms of descent into madness of like, okay, the only way I can be around you is if it's by this wraith, so be it. But I didn't either. She didn't need to get punished, or she needed to become more evil and like have this fight or something, and
I
neither
wanted a
happened.
fight.
I wanted
I
a fight.
Yeah,
I
wanted a
was like,
fight.
cool, 1-on-1.
Yeah, I wanted a fight. I
right,
was like, "Come on, give me a fight. Give me a fight." Because, like, I think it would have been a fit ending for her because she was a general, and for her to die on the
right.
battlefield, it would have been poetic because she would have died on the other side. I feel like
Uh-huh.
that would have been a much better, ending. And, like, even just like a fight against Lingxi, our female lead, I would have loved to have seen that, or even against the male lead, like to take her down. I think that would have been a much fit ending for her character, whereas it kind of just made her character all about him towards the end, and I didn't like that. I really couldn't
Right.
get behind that aspect.
Go back to the mortal realm because I really, really enjoyed the family dynamics that they set up for Nini's character. I thought that
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
really heartbreaking. I loved the entire family. I loved that she came in deaf and that she was an adopted family member, and that whole dynamic of her learning that she's adopted, that her adopted father loved her immediately, that he got the baby that night that she came into the family, and he like immediately kissed her forehead and was like in love with the baby, in love with Nini's character, Limo.
Mhm.
And that father-daughter relationship I'm telling you, carried those 30 episodes for me. I adored everything that was happening there. I
Yeah.
could care less about Ju Chen coming in and out of her life. I was like, her learning to be self-sufficient, leaving her family, the dad attempting to murder her to save the rest of the family, who was pressuring him to kill her because of this whole like superstition thing. I was living for it. It was heartbreaking to me. It was so compelling. And that's what made it so easy to watch those episodes to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree with you. I actually like the family dynamic and like what was happening there more so than, like you said, the male lead. Because I also didn't feel quite right about the male lead coming in and kind of like spying on a kid for a part of the, part of the drama, or part of the mortal realm arc. Because I mean,
Mhm.
we get it. We know that that's Lingxi, but she's still a kid. So I didn't particularly like that aspect of it. But her relationship with her father, it was like angsty at times. And you could almost understand he was in a horrible situation. He was just
Terrible.
stuck in a horrendous situation. And it's like he tried everything to kind of save her. And it's like it still backfired on him. And he's like, what is he even supposed to do at that point? So I really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I did think it was quite a good dynamic for her to kind of fall into, if that
It
makes
was a
sense.
worthy trial to me. Even the bratty little sister, I was like, "Oh my god." I was, like, getting so upset at her, and, when she chops down the peach tree on her
Mhm,
birthday,
mhm,
I was like, "Oh my god, just whip her." I was so cut up about everything that happened to her in the family as she was growing up and her trials there, of course, like, when the dad had to kill her and stuff like that, and it was like he was killing a part of himself, so that
mhm,
again, that the whole thing, I was completely sold on it. Jiu Chen coming in, I think the only part that I really, really enjoyed was her birthday. So she sees that her sister cut down the peach tree, and I think she's walking through fields of peach trees that are
Uh-huh.
not blooming. The thing is
Right.
that tree would always bloom on her birthday, and it was out of season. It would bloom out of season only on her
Yeah.
birthday. So she's walking through a field of peach trees somewhere on their family property, and he makes all of the trees bloom for her on her
Uh-huh.
birthday. I was like, "Oh my god." Like, that was really emotional and good. It was a good beat. But like he's barely there. He's barely interacting with her, but he does this special thing for her to make her feel better on her birthday. So it was good. The mom dynamic too, because the mom hated her and was gonna kill her as a child because she was deaf and all these. Oh my god. Oh my god. This disability aspect,
Yeah.
this
I
adoption
was
aspect.
I was gonna bring that up. I love that this drama brought up the disabilities conversation because it's not only just Nini's character. We got the villain guy; he was blind. Nini at some point was mute and
Deaf.
deaf. We had that guy in the tower, the demon in the tower who had lost all of his senses.
Mhm.
So it was a constant thing of disability talk. I thought that was just really interesting of just
Mhm.
multiple characters having to go through problems, trials with a disability and
Right.
having to overcome, not overcome, but adapt
Yeah.
to either a disability they gained over just a random disability that they got, or being like in Nini's case, she was born deaf and mute. So she had to adapt to survive. And I thought that was a very unique topic brought up in this drama.
Mhm.
Wait, wasn't she born that way because she gave those senses up to the
Yes.
monster?
She gave up her
Yes.
hearing to the monster in the demon tower. I think you have on here gender dysphoria. Do you wanna lead us into this one? this
Yeah,
topic
but
from the
before
show?
that, I also wanna mention in the human realm, I did enjoy when Chen and the villain guy were living in the same house with her, and they
Oh,
were
yeah.
having these little fights under the
The
table,
petty fights, yeah, that was
the
good.
petty fights. I thought the comedy during the mortal realm was pretty nice between them 2 because it
Mhm.
was just hidden, and they obviously both knew they were not mortals, so they were having magical fights under a table with
Yeah,
chopsticks.
and she's clueless.
Yeah, so the gender dysphoria, I specifically brought this up because of the mermaid. I had never I mean, I was trying to think back of, like, have I ever had mermaids in my Shancha before? And I couldn't think of one. And so the gender dysphoria in terms of her character was and you can correct me if the lore was wrong. From
What
what
is
I
it? It was like
understand
after the first 300 years, he turned into a they get a human form,
yeah,
but they choose what their gender is. So she chose male for the first 300 years.
yeah.
And then she was a general serving under Chen and had all these relationships and met all these people. And she met Siming.
Mhm. Mhm.
And after 200 years, so after a total of 500 years, they get to choose again. Like they get
Yeah.
a second shot.
Yeah.
And she chose female to
Right.
change her gender to female. And so there was basically a trans character in the show.
Right. Right. And yeah, and her entire a big thing that she would bring up all the time was, "I used to be a man." In appearance, she was a woman, but she was constantly dressed as a man. She would say, like, "I'm more comfortable in men clothing. I'm more comfortable carrying this trident." She wasn't ladylike. She was a warrior. I thought that was very interesting to watch. And just, again, a unique topic that I had not seen and brought up, and it was a conversation of somewhat of a trans character, but also just a person not being comfortable and having gender dysphoria and not really knowing what they would be more comfortable. And then by the end, she died, and then was brought back as her original self as a mermaid. And so she would have to relearn all that again and have that decision done again, which I didn't really particularly like that decision.
I don't like how her character ends either. That she
Y-
died. They were like, "Oh, it's been 300 years. She's gonna choose, or she's
Yeah.
gonna transform into a human again." This sort of like first decision, and they all gather around, and she looks literally like a weird fish person
Yeah. Yeah.
with all of the blue and like
With all the
gills
blue
and
and the
Gills,
gills and
yeah.
everything, yeah, and she doesn't
prosthetics.
remember any of them.
She has
Yeah,
no memory of anybody.
yeah,
I'm like, okay, hard reset here.
yeah,
Here was my issue with that character was mostly because she was so pushy with
mhm,
Simming.
yeah, yeah,
I did not like that she was
yeah,
constantly pushing his buttons, constantly making him uncomfortable, and she knew he was uncomfortable. Constantly, and he was like, "Look, I don't like you like that. I'm not comfortable. We served together in the army all those years ago as men. I got to know you as a male friend, and now suddenly you're a female. Like I have to basically like rearrange my entire thought process on our entire relationship. I have to like redefine this." And she's like, "Well, it doesn't matter. Like we got to know each other." And she did not understand at all what the implications were for changing from male to female. She was like, "Okay, now we can be together." And he's like, "No, no, it's not like that at all." And I think I wrote off their relationship. They were cute, the bickering was cute, but I wrote off their romantic relationship when she was actively manipulating him
yeah,
because she had like she was literally trying to pull at his heartstrings to make him care about her, which he automatically did. He already cared whether she lived or died, whether she was having a bad day or a good day. And it was when she had this like booklet that was like how to, manipulate and get with the person. I don't know. It was some mermaid handbook. And it was literally like manipulation tactics. I was like, no, we're
right.
not. No.
Yeah. I never saw a romantic thing, even though her character did want it.
Hmm.
I never saw that romantic connection. I never couldn't get behind because again, it was really one-sided. It was very apparent that he did care about her, but in a friend capacity and a
Mhm.
companion capacity, whereas she either developed feelings for him as a man and decided and like obviously that's why she decided to become a woman. So that was a very interesting.
So is that a problem? Like, is that okay? Did they do that just because in trying to the gays are not okay? Like, that
Yeah.
begs more questions, you know?
Exactly. It's clear why she became a woman after 300 years. Basically, you have a gay character who became a woman to be with the man that she loved, knowing that he wasn't gay, and then trying to make him fall in love with the same character as a woman.
It's so problematic to
It
me. I'm
is. It is.
sorry.
It is very problematic. Yeah. Yeah. It's problematic.
I'm sorry. Ming is a
Definitely.
victim here to me.
Right.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly like the character even as a whole because like Jess said, she felt very pushy. It was like, well, but I like you, so it doesn't really matter whether you like me back or not. We're going to get together, and that's how it kind of like came across from her. And I also didn't like it that by the end they kind of almost hinted that Siming was like caring about her. I just wanted them to like be separate and be like, this is not, you know. It's almost like she was trying to gaslit him and like manipulate him
Yeah.
into being in love with her. And it's just like that's not a healthy relationship. That's
Right.
not gonna happen.
Yeah, I just didn't appreciate that. It was not, I don't know, it just was felt very icky because of her tactics and the way that she just didn't care about his discomfort and the way that he would process this whole transition and like none of that. So I
If
I
she
Uh-huh.
just
had
didn't.
been like his friend, and if they'd had been friends for however amount of time, right? And then she would have been like, look, I like you, I have feelings for you. And he would have said, look, I don't feel the same way. And she would have accepted that, right? And they could have carried on as friends. And then maybe he might have developed feelings for her later on. We don't know. But that would have felt like a better transition and a better handling of the situation as a whole, I think.
Yeah. I agree. Because then it's like at the end when she got transformed into the fish person and then lost all her memory, I like obviously they did that as a reset to maybe have them have a romance again. But I'm just like, as somebody who's just watched this entire drama and known all of her decisions up to this point, I can't support this because now what is Singmin going to do? Is he going to nurture this relationship? Because it's still very unclear at the end if he ever developed any romantic feelings for her, which I don't think he really did. So
He
it's
was
like,
worried for her. He was
he
worried
was,
for like,
yeah,
but
as like a
does that
companion.
mean he's in love with her? I don't
Right,
necessarily think so.
right. Yeah, yeah,
It's hard, and that was really tough for me. Every time they were on screen, I was like, "Okay," like, just a little bit just I had so many reservations about it, and I couldn't
right.
really support it even if the character was comedic relief in a lot of parts of the show.
Yeah. The other
Mhm.
thing too is you also add on the fact that it was very clear that she kind of had an innocence about her because she really just she changed herself into a female thinking, "Oh, okay, now we can have this romantic relationship."
Yeah.
And it was very clear she did not know everything about what goes into a romantic relationship. So she had this somewhat of a childlike personality to me, especially during some conversations where I was just like, nah, this is not cool.
Yeah, and so many parts of the show, the comedic relief comes about because she's so obtuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, we're gonna make fun of a character who doesn't know anything about social cues and doesn't know
Right.
when to leave a room or read the room or what have you. It's just a lot of things are flying over her head and let alone the sexual aspect of
Mhm.
being with somebody else. I was like,
Right.
oh.
Exactly.
Okay, I guess we're all on the same page about that couple and that character. Did you guys want to talk about the other villain character who was like messing about? Zhong Hao? He was
Yeah. The former general.
I did not understand how he was connected to Jiu Chen or the Shanling tribe at all.
Basically, from what I remember, he was part of the Shanling tribe.
Yeah, okay.
He had a beef with Jingshu, the bald-headed dude, because he got
Jingshu has
betrayed by
beef with
him.
literally
Yeah,
everybody.
he got betrayed by him. He wanted revenge, and that's why he absorbed the demon essence and became the demon essence to get revenge on Jingshu.
Here's my two hot takes. One, you could have deleted his character, it would have been fine. Two, that man is fine. That
Oh
man is
yeah,
fine as
he's
shit. I thought he was so
so
hot.
good looking. Never Say Never, Chef's Kiss masterpiece. I need to
Oh,
rewatch it. He plays a drug lord in that, and yes.
wow. My third hot take is that he was overacting the crap out of that
Oh, yeah.
character.
Yes.
My god.
I also that's fun. I don't know. It's kind of the fun of it too, though. Like, I don't know. If I was a villain in a drama, I would overact.
You would
I would
be
be
doing all
like,
that?
yeah, I'd be like, I'm having fun with this role because I know I'm gonna die.
Oh my god. I think the only other thing about, like, characters and their not overacting, I'm basically switching gears because I was looking at Ling Yue, which is the Shanling tribe ruler.
Nini's
Not
mom.
Nini. Ling Shi's mother, biological mother, is that I thought she was gonna die, and then for a split second, I didn't think she was gonna die,
Uh-huh.
and then she like, when Jingshu killed her, I was like, "Oh, okay, so he doesn't wanna be with her,
Right. Yeah.
because he really thought he really thought, "I can kill her mom, keep it a secret, and we can be together." Delusional, delusional.
Yes. All the time. Yeah. And also, her adoptive daughter,
Oh my god, what a
the
brat.
princess, brat. Yeah, absolute brat.
No need for that character either, in my
Yeah,
humble
not in
opinion.
my opinion. Yeah, yeah, not really.
No need for her. The only time I felt something about her was when she overheard Jingshu's plan, or that he had already was planning to kill the mom,
Mhm.
her adoptive mom, the queen of Shanling, and she kept it under wraps, let him do it, and then was like, "Oh, we're gonna get together." Again, another
Yeah, we're
delusional
gonna get
character.
together.
Yeah. Yeah, wild, wild. Also didn't expect Jinshu to kill her, and so quickly too. He was just like, "Prah," and slits her neck.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna have like a closure
Yeah.
conversation with Nini.
No. It was really weird. Like, again, those last few episodes felt
By
so
that time, they ain't got time
rushed.
for that, though. That's the thing. By
True.
that time, they
True.
haven't got time for that. They need to speed it up.
Yeah. I will say I didn't think that Ling Shi had a strong relationship with Lib Wu, her adoptive father in the immortal realm,
Yeah. The Peach Forest
the Peach Forest
person.
dude.
Yeah.
But she had such a strong connection to her adoptive father in the mortal realm that
Right.
blew it out of the water. So
Yeah.
it was good that it came hot on the heels of her losing her father in the immortal realm,
Mhm. Mhm.
but then it was a better relationship in the mortal realm. So I was like, did they mean for it to be so lopsided? Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. Anything
Hard
else?
something to say. I thought the Emperor was really cool. That was unique. I mean, he, in my opinion, wasn't horrible compared to like some of the other emperors in this chancha. It was mostly the God of Thunder who was
Oh,
the
the God of
horrible
Thunder.
person.
Yeah, Thor.
I will say,
Thor.
the thing that like annoyed me about this, his speaking voice,
Oh,
the
yeah, it
God
was
of
horrible.
Thunder, I couldn't. I was like, why? Who
It was
is
even
doing this
worse.
guy's dubbing?
It was even worse in 1.5 speed because it was so
I can't
halting.
imagine. It's so weird. It was
It was a
so
very bad
weird.
cadence.
Yeah, it was a very weird cadence. To me, it sounded robotic
Yeah.
in a way. I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand why they chose to speak like that.
Because he would be doing like,
Yeah.
and then he would
Yeah.
like harumph like
Yes.
at a lot of time. I don't, it was a really weird way of speaking and delivering those lines. Whether or not he delivered them like that at the time and then the dubber did something different, I don't know. It was just weird.
Yeah. I like the Emperor a lot because I think he really took a back seat in terms of the story wise. I think the God of Thunder seemed to have more power than him in a way because a lot of people went to the God of Thunder with their issues, which he went full out, full force. We're going to go punish everybody, even though, which is
Yeah.
clear why he was not the God of War because he would start war every day of the week
He was
if
so
that happened.
impulsive.
So impulsive. And it's just like, I understand that he loved Yutong and like that family. For me, you threw logic out the window. There was like one too many times that this girl came to you and was like, Ling Shi did this and Ling Shi did that. And you immediately ran to like arrest her. I
Yeah,
was just
like a
like,
lot of her things was she was tattling
yeah,
on Ju
yeah,
Chen to Thor, the God of Thunder.
yes,
And he just took her at face value and didn't
yeah,
think, "Oh, she could be tricking me. She could be using me for her own revenge and plans."
right.
Again, after the first time, maybe he should have rethought trusting her.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't.
because he was losing face every single time. I was just like, if I were you, I would just I would at least investigate before, like, shouting with my full chest that we needed to go punish this person.
Yeah, like, I think by the end of the show, I thought that the God of Thunder was just an avid rule follower.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a stickler for the rules, and that's
Mhm.
everything about his character, and Ju Chen had some give. You know, he would do things for his own purposes without hurting other people, without hurting the heavenly realm or whatever, but it was wrong morally or against the rules, and God of Thunder was not he was not lax at all.
Yeah.
So,
And then the emperor's just in the background being like, "I secretly know everything Ju Chen is doing, and I'm not gonna
literally.
tell anybody."
Yeah, exactly. I did like seeing the peach forest again. Did you guys enjoy seeing the peach forest again?
Mhm.
Mhm.
I
That's
love
true.
that.
That's
I
true.
love that set.
That was nice. That
Yeah,
was nice.
it's beautiful.
Especially
I
because it
don't
was in, like, the same
yeah,
supposedly in the same world.
yeah.
She apparently lived in the same world as our main girl from 10 Miles, so they, I guess, lived
They're
in the same
peers,
area?
I guess. I don't know. I thought that they could have deleted the brother character, the other fox that lived in
Yeah.
the peach
Mm.
forest. Just a
Mhm.
nothing character. I didn't care at all about that little sprite that he picked up at one
Same.
time. Oh my god,
I
she kept
didn't
bitching about the
understand.
peach wine and her hair. I was like, I don't just delete it. Just delete it. The other thing that I wanted to say was the character that was obsessed with Ju Chen and was a peer of the doctor,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
the other lady
Her
doctor.
father was the one, like,
Yes.
the god of medicine or something like that?
Something like that. I was like, "Delete her."
I found her annoying. You already have Yutong. Why are you adding this other person? And clearly, if Yutong doesn't have a chance, this person won't at all.
It was
There was one too
crazy.
many people, in my opinion,
I agree.
that just
Agree.
didn't need to be there.
Yep.
I think they were kind of used to stretch.
Go
Go ahead.
ahead, Liliana.
I was just gonna say, I feel like they were just kind of used to stretch the story more than it
Yeah.
needed to be. Because a lot of the characters I find didn't need to be there. They were just kind of like thrown in for a little bit, and then they would be like brought back out, and we would never go back to them again. So yeah.
I think the last thing that I wanted to say were some of my favorite parts of the show because
Uh-huh.
I've said this so many times before. I'm an angsty bitch. I love
Uh-huh.
angst. So when she died by killing herself on Ju Chen's sword,
Yeah.
my god, when she gave up her hearing for like this little fire thing that would keep him alive. Yeah, all of that. It was heartbreaking to see her not receive that last message that he beamed to her through, I don't know, magic or whatever. And because
Right.
she couldn't hear, her hearing was now with that
Mhm.
monster. And that monster was like, she'll never hear this. I was like, yep, that's great. All the mortal trial is good. I loved when she died finally
Mhm.
as Lin Mo and
Uh-huh.
his reaction to that. That was like the most acting that we've seen from him. I mean, Chang Chen. He's like
Well,
holding her
even
and she
Jinshu's
disappears.
reaction to that, like, before that,
Yeah.
like, when they were, like, alone in the forest, that was I like that too. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. So all of those big moments were great. Let me see. I think he kisses her at some point later when she's back as Lingxi, and her styling is really good here.
When she was queen,
When
basically.
she no, right before she's queen.
Okay.
Yeah. But he kisses her and he's like, I don't want to wait and all this stuff. I'm like, yep, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, but they have sex. Oh, we didn't talk about
They do.
this.
They do.
Mhm.
They have sex, and I was like, okay, they're gonna have a baby.
They will.
He's not gonna be around.
He's gonna die. We'll
He's
go
gonna
away for a
die.
little bit.
Mhm. Yeah. Did you guys have thoughts on this?
On which
It
part?
was the sex part.
The sex part and then the eventual love child.
I mean, the love child was predictable. I feel like everybody has a child by the end of the drama, so I was not surprised that she showed up with a child.
Yep. It was a girl. I thought that was
It was a
kind of
girl.
unique. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
I think usually it's a boy, it's a son.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this little girl, when they had sex, she was drunk.
Yes. Yeah.
So she didn't have all her faculties about her and they do it anyway. I don't know. I don't know.
Wish that she didn't need to necessarily be drunk in that scene. That's
No,
my
she
she
didn't.
didn't
No.
need to be drunk in that scene. I mean, it was heading in that direction anyways, but
Right. Yeah.
I still would have preferred for her to be very sober. There was no need for her. Like, it added nothing to the scene in
Right.
general.
I mean, I will take drunk over, like, magical spell or something, though. Like, at least it wasn't like you got drugged by another person to have sex together or something. It was just like she drank too much. Like,
Oh.
I would take that, which was like a normal thing that happens, like a mortal thing that happens versus like a magical reason. I would say that. But I also did not
Yeah.
like that she was drunk.
Yeah.
But I would take that over a magical reason. Or like them having sex in the mortal realm. That wouldn't have made sense to me either.
Yeah, no, no. But she remembers it, so I guess that was like
Yeah.
the positive was that it wasn't blackout drunk.
Right.
That's so sad that we're like splitting hairs on
And
this.
it wasn't I mean, at least you somewhat saw it. It wasn't like fireworks in the sky or something.
I thought that, oh my God, thank you for bringing this up. I totally thought that when they had sex, which they don't show the sex, they just show like
No.
them making out beforehand.
And the clothes
I
on the
thought that was going
floor.
to be a celestial phenomenon.
Right.
I
Yeah.
totally thought there was going to be a celestial phenomenon. And that was like the cut to was going to be something happening in the sky and everyone reacting and being like, oh, the God of War.
That
Ah,
would make sense with the amount of comedy in this show.
right.
So,
Anyway, but that didn't
yeah.
happen. It was very
No.
low key.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, it needed to happen before he went and got trapped in that demon hole
That
for
was stupid.
50,000 years, whatever,
That
however
was
long it
stupid.
was.
It was only 300 years that he was
Really? Oh, okay.
stuck. Yeah, after she goes down there and they have their final standoff with Jingshu, who again, for some reason finally shows up down there. He traps him in hell, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't worry, close the gate, shut it down. I'll find a way back to you." And I'm like, "Okay, I
She will.
guess. Sure, sure." And he does there's no explanation on how he
No
does that.
explanation of how he got
He's
out.
just there.
Nothing.
He's just there.
there.
No sign, no, like, nothing.
Right,
Nothing.
right. No clues or celestial signs that maybe he's back or whatever. No. No. None of that. Just 300 years later, we get the reset on the mermaid and he's there, but he leaves a trail of toys leading outside to where he's meeting his daughter for the first. I was like, how why are you asking who she is? I think you know you handle all these toys going outside.
Also, ain't nobody teach that kid stranger danger. Just
Stranger
saying.
danger.
She's just like, "Oh, you're my dad." I was like, "Well, okay."
Okay. All right. He's like, yes, I am. I'm like, what is this reaction?
You even know.
Strange. God. Anyway, it was a happy ending. He comes
That's
back
true.
miraculously. And that wraps Love and Destiny.
Literally. Yes.
Literally.
Literally. All right. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
No.
The way that the demon lord looked like it was pulsating
Oh my
inside
god.
of this like flower
Yes.
stone cliffside thing. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like
Yes.
that at all.
Good.
No,
No.
didn't appreciate it.
Again, he seemed very minuscule too,
Oh yeah.
because like he obviously couldn't get out of there, so he had to possess people. So it was like
I just think the stakes were so low.
the
Like
sta-
throughout
this,
the show,
yeah,
the stakes
yeah,
so low. So low. Which is why the angst parts were so impressive to me because it
right,
was the baseline was so low.
right.
But then, like, even when he possesses people, it's not like they're causing that much trouble, anyways. So it's like, really? Is this what the heavenly realm is so afraid of? Like, the stakes are on the
Mhm.
floor. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I guess to wrap up this trio of dramas, my ranking is 10 Miles number 1, and maybe Love and Destiny and Eternal Love of Dream is somewhere vacillating between 2 and 3. Because right now I can't choose. I'll go ahead and choose Love and Destiny as number 2, and then Eternal Love of Dream as number 3.
You know mine. Mine's 10 Miles, Love and Destiny, and then on the
Okay.
ground
But
is
you're
Eternal Love of Dream. But because that just did not live up to my expectations whatsoever, and I wanted it to be so more. I did like this couple a lot, so but
yeah.
again, nothing will beat 10 Miles. But I
But
thought
that's a
the main
firm
couple,
number 2 for you.
a
This is
firm number
like
two,
a
firm number
big
2 for
gap
me.
between 1 and 2 for me.
I would say I wouldn't say it's a big gap between 1 and 2 for me, but it is a gap. Like, this does not compare to 10 Miles in my opinion, but
Mhm, mhm.
Eternal Love a Dream, like, let's say 10 Miles is, like, the heaven realm, Eternal Love is, like, the mortal, Love and, like, Eternal or Love and Destiny is in the mortal realm, and then we got Eternal Love a Dream, which is, like, below the demon hell realm. Like, that is the gap between the other 2 for me.
Okay, so mine would be 10 miles. I'll put them at the top and I'll stuff the other 2 down below the demon realm. Thank you very much and move on.
Yeah,
Cool, cool. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It's just such a drop off between 1
Mhm.
and 2 for me. I guess
It's just
maybe
like
it
just straight down, straight
it's
down.
such a drop. And anyway, but I don't wanna belabor the point, but, me and Liliana felt very harsh feelings toward the show
Towards the main
overall.
couple.
Yeah, and the main couple especially, yeah.
I would say,
Well,
okay,
not
for people who liked the second couple, because I will say, and then in the 10 Miles, I even the on the first watch of 10 Miles, I liked the second couple more than the first couple, and then as I said in our episode, I grew to like the main couple through the rewatch. For me, I think, again, as I reiterated, or I already said in this episode, like, because I liked the second couple in 10 Miles so much, I think that's why I love this main couple so much. So, for people who are listening, if you love the second couple in 10 Miles, because I think there's groups. I think there's people who loved the second couple in 10 Miles and didn't particularly like the main couple, or vice versa. I think you should give this one a shot and see if you like it, because I think the reason why I like the main couple so much is because my favorite couple in 10 Miles is the second couple, and they have the same dynamic.
Right.
See, but I liked the second couple in 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms. I even said that. I enjoyed them in 10 Miles. I had a lot of problems with the storytelling and how things went down in Eternal Love of Dream. But when I was watching 10 Miles, I actually enjoyed
Mm,
their couple. I thought they were fun to watch.
mhm,
But yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, in Eternal Love of Dream, I think it was a story problem and not necessarily a them problem. We hashed all of
mm,
that out over, on Daybug. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's a huge disconnect between these two. And like, it doesn't even seem like they're in the same hemisphere, so to speak.
mm.
All right. Well, that concludes our review of Love and Destiny. Clearly, we don't agree, but that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything, and that's kind of the fun of it at all. But thank you guys for joining me and being the first guest as a drama review on my podcast. I really enjoyed it. Where can people find you guys if you are listening with us for the first time?
You can find Tebak Here Rambles everywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and so many more. And you can find me on social media, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Tebak Pod.
For me, it's again, you can find Tea and Soju podcast on all of your, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, all of those. And then it's Tea and Soju Pod, all one word, over on TikTok, Instagram, and actually, I think that's it. TikTok and Instagram.
Thank you so
All
much for
right.
having us, Caitlin.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Caitlin.
much for joining me. I had a lot of fun. And thank you guys for listening. If you've seen Love and Destiny, please comment or DM us and tell us what you thought. If you haven't and you go and watch this, and after listening to this, please let us know if you agree or disagree with whoever on this review. And thank you so much for listening. If you want to continue the conversations about dramas that were started in this episode, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky under the username No Sleep for Dramas. That is No Sleep, the number 4 Dramas, just like in the title of the podcast. This podcast is also an expansion of my blog, so you can visit my blog at www.nosleepfordramas.com, the number 4 dramas.com, and find multiple years of blog posts already available at your fingertips. All links are in the description of this episode. Finally, please give this podcast a like or a follow wherever you listen to the podcast. Leaving a comment or a review also helps a lot. We love hearing ideas and feedback from all of you. Share the podcast with your friends as well. Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of the No Sleep for Dramas podcast, and I am your host, Caitlin. I will see you here next time, and I hope you get no sleep chasing the next episode just like me. Good night.